Society, and I would just quickly want to do a little bit of housekeeping regarding the way we approach virtual meetings. If you're not speaking, please keep yourself on mute just to eliminate background noise. If you have questions, there is a raise your hand feature, so please use that. We will open the floor up for questions and answers just a little bit, and we do want to make sure that we answer all of your questions. But don't hesitate. This is very informal. So if you have questions, you don't have to wait till the end. If Eric is saying something that you definitely want to know more about, just jump in and ask a question while he's chatting. Again, very informal here. But we do have 3 board members on the call. We may have more drop in, but I would like to take a minute to introduce. We actually have 3 members of the executive committee. Eric Goldschmidt is our president, who is in Corning, New York. And then we have Michelle Bufano, who is our vice president, and she is in Seattle, Washington. And then we have James Devereaux, who is in, I don't know, you're at a train station in the UK. So, well, I was about to go into your spiel, Eric, about how many board members we have and where they are. But instead, I will talk a little bit about the organization before handing it over to Eric, who will tell you more about the board specifically. So I know that you all obviously know who the Glass Art Society is, but I'll dive into it a little bit, things that you may not know, which is we do not have an office. We are a virtual organization ever since 2020. We have staff. We have 5 staff members, 4 full-time, 2 in the UK, and the other 3 are in the US. Hang on just a second. We have someone else needing in. Okay. All right. So, and GAS runs 3 main programs. You're all, I'm sure, aware of our annual conference, but we also started 3 years ago the GAS Travels travel program, where we work with artists in different parts of the world to bring a group of collectors and artists and glass enthusiasts so that they can experience glass where it's being made and see how the artists live and work in different parts of the area, or different parts of the world. We've been to Japan, to Mexico, to Australia, to Italy. We are doing the Nordic countries in July, and we're busy planning our 2 next trips for 2027. And then this will be our first year taking over the International Festival of Glass, which is a 20-year-old glass festival here in the UK. I guess I didn't say that. I am located in the UK, even though I'm very American sounding. We also have a series of exhibitions and awards that work in conjunction and outside of our programs, including 3 conference exhibitions, 3 exhibitions at the International Festival of Glass. We have Emerging Artist Awards, where we recognize 3 emerging artists each year. We have a Lifetime Membership Award that we recognize each year, and that's a service award to GAS. And then we have a Lifetime Achievement Award that we recognize every 5 years. So 2027 will be the next time that we have a Lifetime Achievement Award winner. And that is a very loose outline of what GAS as an organization does, again, with our 5 staff and the help of our 20 board members. And with that, I will hand it over to Eric to talk a little bit about the board.
Excellent. Thanks, Brandy. Hi, everybody. A lot of familiar faces here. This is great. So yeah, our board at the moment, we have 20 board members. I have been on the board. This is actually my 7th year, which is odd. We'll get into that in a moment. But through my time on the board, we've had anywhere, I think, from 17 to 20 board members. We adjust depending on how terms end, how people sort of end their tenure, and what our needs are as we foresee them in the upcoming years. And the terms, 3-year terms, and you can do 2 consecutive 3-year terms, and then would need to take a year off before continuing with other activities with the board. My situation got a little odd because we are in Corning for our conference this year, so I was asked to stay on for an extra year. So here we are. So yeah, terms, 2 3-year terms. The role that board members tend to play, as with most not-for-profit organizations, we help to set the organizational direction. So we establish sort of mission and vision. We work with Brandy and the staff to sort of approve and monitor the strategies that we're using to achieve the mission. We keep an eye on legal and ethical practices, making sure the organization is sort of continuing on an ethical path. It is also our responsibility to build and think about the succession of the board and make sure that we're adding in the right skill sets, the right sort of diverse perspectives to make it as strong of a board to support this organization as we can. We do everything we can to support and sort of assess our executive director and our staff and how we can keep them sort of moving in the right directions. We ensure that the organization has the right resources. We keep an eye on the finances and make sure that all is flowing properly. So, and of course, another major role that a lot of you probably have seen is we have a very hardworking board, and we facilitate the conferences. So as you've probably seen at conferences, we count on our board members to help with setting everything up. We count on our board members for introducing presentations. We count on our board members to help run our vendor market, things like that. So we do count on our board members to accomplish a fair bit of work. As far as expectations, we do expect board members to attend conferences, and there is an expense involved with that. At the moment, GAS covers hotels for board members at conferences, but that is all the organization can afford to support at the moment. We're working towards building out our finances, so there will be more support to help board members attend conferences. At the moment, that is not the case. Brandy, did you want to chime in?
I just wanted to clarify that you do not have to buy a conference pass, though.
Oh, yes. Excellent. Good point. Yeah, your registration is included in your efforts as a board member. So we have monthly board meetings, and we expect board members to attend meetings consistently. If you're not going to make it, we expect to hear from you and why, and we do record most meetings so we can share information that way when necessary. And we also have several committees that help us with other sort of smaller tasks that the organization is accomplishing. So we typically ask board members to be a part of a couple of those different committees. Could be anything from our programs committee that develops programming throughout the year and is responsible for the exhibitions that occur at the conferences. It could be our conference committee, which sort of looks at the macro scope of policies and procedures around conferences. They also, as we start developing conferences with different localities, they'll work a bit with those site committees, sort of bridging the gap between what GAS is doing and what the local site is doing. We have our IDEA committee, which is inclusion, diversity, equity, and accessibility, is a very active committee for us. So we have several different committees. As your skill sets apply, we may ask you to work on one committee or another, or if there's one that you know your heart is really set on, we would love for people to sort of share that passion in their committee participation as well. And then as far as sort of general responsibilities, we expect everyone to participate in the general governance of the organization. And those are some of the points I was talking about initially, things like keeping an eye on the finances, keeping an eye on the legality of what we're doing, and the ethics of what we're doing as well. As I mentioned, we expect people to work on committees. Every once in a while, we might have a group put together as a task force if there's sort of a timely project that needs to get done, and I need maybe a few people to really focus on a specific project at a time. You might be asked to join a task force to accomplish that. Yeah, we expect your sort of volunteer efforts around the conferences and general organization outside of just the board work. We also expect board members to help with fundraising. And that's reflected in a couple different ways. We, as with most not-for-profit organizations, ask all of our board members to contribute what they're comfortable contributing to our organization. For some folks, that may just be a few dollars. Other folks, if they can afford a bit more, it's great. It's really important for us in our broader fundraising efforts to be able to let folks know, to let potential donors know that our board supports the organization so thoroughly that we are all fully invested in it. So that's an important element as well. And then we also, as board members, and you've surely experienced this, we serve as sort of champions for the organization within the GLAS community. So we expect our board members to speak about the organization, to share the mission of the organization with their local GLAS communities and even their broader GLAS communities. So we as a board do quite a bit as sort of the face of the organization and the tendrils of the organization that get out into the community and sort of keep that energy stirred up. So yeah, that is sort of a lot about what we tend to do as a board. Brandy and I were talking and thinking you all might be curious to know a little bit more about our personal experiences having been on the board now. Michelle, can I put you on the spot and maybe tell us a little bit about maybe your expectations joining the board and what you've experienced as a board member in these couple of years?
Sure. So this is my second year. And I came in because I really love gas, obviously. Loved it my whole life. This will be my third Corning conference, which I'm really excited about. And I also love raising money. So I thought that Brandy and I have worked together in the past, and I thought this would be an opportunity for me to use some of my skills and maybe help the organization in reaching out to donors in different ways. And so I came on. And I think the one thing I would say is, and probably Eric said it really well, but we really are a working board. I mean, we don't make the decisions necessarily, but we help influence the decisions. And we also help do the work, which I find really fun. And I love that part of it. I love that we get to be so involved with it, but we also have to respect our executive director makes, a lot of the decisions. And then we as a board get to work on different committees and help see all of these ideas through, which I think has been really rewarding. The other thing I would say, and I know Eric, maybe you were going to talk about this a little bit, but the number of people from so many different countries on the board, just being exposed to a network that is that large and diverse is, and so many different perspectives. I think that's one of the most interesting parts about being on the board is that you get these different perspectives about our community, the GLAS community, that you wouldn't otherwise get. So yeah, it's only my second year, but I am definitely enjoying it and enjoying all that it brings.
And Michelle, we are so thankful for your fundraising efforts. You have been a huge contributor. Can't thank you enough. Brandy, did you want to jump in?
Do you mind if I take a minute?
No, please.
I just wanted, because Michelle hit on something that is so important, especially to me as the executive director, because GAS is trying so hard to really represent the global GLAS community and to continue to expand the way we support and represent artists working with GLAS around the world. The diversity on our board is so important because we need to hear those voices, because we don't want to just represent the people that are from the UK or from the US, or that are flame workers, or that are casters. We want to really be able to support people in all the ways everywhere that they work with glass. So we've been trying really hard to get more engagement from the more obscure ways of working with glass, the underrepresented locations, as we are continuing to build relationships and partnerships in places where they have growing glass communities, in France and in Spain, and there are lots of places in Central America that we don't have representation from, and it would be great to just continue. And we talk a lot about how to get even more people involved outside of just being on the board. So that's something that we're also working with, because we have a really big table and we want more people at it. So it's just very exciting to have you all here today, because I and the entire organization really relies on people being engaged and bringing their perspectives, and you're just making the community and our organization stronger. So thank you for being here, and thank you for your interest. And I just wanted to echo what Michelle said about how important that is.
Yeah, and in addition to having people from diverse locations, having a diverse skill set on our board is really important as well. We know we need additional folks who can help with fundraising. We know we need some folks who are good with business strategy. We know we could use some help with legal expertise as well. We also, another gap that we're seeing sort of shaping up in the next few years, we also need the independent artist perspective a little bit better represented. Folks who are really making their living specifically off of their artwork. So there are a lot of different skill sets that come together to really make this as effective a board as it can be. And to tell you all a little bit about my experience on the board, I've been pretty active around gas for a long time. When I first moved here to Corning in 2001, there was a gas conference here right as I moved here. So it sort of made an immediate impression on me early on in my career, and got to every conference I could manage to get myself to, and had thought about, like, would I ever be a board member? What could I do there? And sure enough, in St. Petersburg in 2019, Natalie Rodriguez, who was the board president at the time, approached me and asked me, like, we could really use somebody who has a good perspective on the flameworking community. We could use somebody who has experience building public programs. And that really speaks to my skill set. So as I was honored to be asked and thrilled to jump on board, and I sort of developed some ideas in my head, like, what do I really want to accomplish from my individual perspective that can really help the organization and help the communities that I'm most connected to within glass. And so I put a lot of my energy towards finding the right folks in the flameworking community to continue to add into the programming for conferences, and try to give those folks a little more of the spotlight. I joined the board in September of 2019. So, within a few months, we're in a pandemic. So another very important thing that pops into my head, we need to get this organization through this pandemic and financially sound again. And so that was another sort of important thing in my head, that we need to get this organization back on the right footing to get through this pandemic. Also, just thinking about ways in which artists need support, and what can an organization like GAS do to continue to facilitate opportunities for artists. So it's helpful. I think everybody coming from their different directions and becoming board members, we bring these different perspectives from the different elements of the community we come from, and bringing those all to the table are crucial for pushing this global glass community forward. So hopefully you all as you're sort of considering this idea of maybe being on the board, you're sort of processing some thoughts. What do I bring to the table? What would I like to see change in GAS or change in the glass community that we can facilitate through GAS? So we really like folks to have these ideas and have these sort of grand visions of what they can bring to the table. So we've been talking a lot. Anybody have any questions out there? If I can shift gears like that. So feel free to throw your hands up in the air. No.
I'm not sure how to throw a hand up, but I'm just going to ask a question.
Go for it, Raj.
What other organizations are you guys sort of connected with? Like, I know ASGS is out there. You mentioned the international, the event in the UK, which, you know, I don't know the whole story on that. From my perspective, it's like the GAS of the UK, or
not quite. It's sort of an event in the UK that the GAS has taken over. So with this conference in particular, we have some pretty new real partnerships. With Corning, we are partnering with the International Society of Glass Bead Makers and the Stained Glass Association of America. So those are they are fully professional partnerships that we've got going with those organizations. American Scientific Glassblowers are going to be somewhat involved with this conference as well. The IFOG situation is an event that GAS has taken over that we now manage. And we are very much looking for other partnerships. That was another thing that I meant to mention as a personal mission when I got on the board, is I really wanted to see GAS become this umbrella, because we're great at throwing these really big events, and we can be there for some of the smaller organizations to join with us and help their memberships along. So yeah, the partnerships are definitely something we want to grow. And with this year in particular, it's the first time we really have these official partnerships. So we hope to grow this in the future.
Can I jump in with a few more?
Please.
So as we are working on the International Festival of Glass in the UK here, we're working very closely with CGS, which is the Temporary Glass Society that is, to use your term, Raj, similar to the GAS of the UK. But we have an ongoing partnership with them. We also have partnered with other events that aren't our own, like the So Big Festival in Biot and IGS in Novibor, to support what they're doing. Because again, as Eric used the term umbrella organization, and that is something we talk a lot about, because our role is to not only support artists, but to support organizations and businesses that work in glass as well. So we want to support anyone working with glass, not just the independent artists. So when we can partner with folks on their own activities, we love doing that as well. So we continue to look for ways to grow in those partnerships and to support other communities as much as we can. But as Eric said, we're continuing to look for new ways and new partnerships. I think that's something that we all hope within the next several years just continues to, that list will get longer and longer.
Yeah, we need community. It's how we all grow and sort of support each other. So definitely important. And Caitlin, I see your question in the chat here. Good evening. Thanks for joining. Let's see. So from the educational side, is there growth within GAS around this? And there certainly is. Our support of students has grown enormously. Michelle, I don't know if you want to touch on how much GAS is supporting students these days.
I think I heard a number that since we started fundraising for supporting student memberships, we have 175, I believe, students who have signed up for a free membership. And so that tells me that there is definitely there's a need out there to continue to grow, yay, to continue to grow our student voice in everything that we do, and to be able to provide the kind of resources that they need from an educational perspective. So I see a future there. We're going to continue to raise money every year to support those students.
Yeah, and also with the addition of IFOG to what we're doing, there are master classes that are tied into that. So that's another sort of angle that GAS has grown in their educational programming as well. In past years, we have had sort of some virtual sessions with students throughout the year. At the moment, we don't have the exact staff and board balance to facilitate those things, but that certainly would be things we could add in the future as we get the right group of folks to run such programs. So there's definitely more room to continue to grow educational resources within GAS. Absolutely. Brandy.
And I will say, just again, to piggyback on that, is something that we have not said, which is that GAS is really in a period of growth at the moment. It's a very, very exciting times. We are experiencing a few growing pains as people and organizations do as they move forward. But it's a really exciting time to be involved with GAS, because we have seen so much expansion and so much increased involvement over the past few years. And we are putting plans in place to continue to build these partnerships and to look for new opportunities to support artists and increase education. And I know I'm really excited, and my board members, I want to think they don't get tired of hearing me talk about how excited I am, but we do have really, really big plans, and we are looking for folks that are likewise enthusiastic and come to the table with ideas and plans about how to unify the global GLAS community.
Yeah. It's a quiet bunch. There must be some other questions out there.
Yeah, I've got another question.
Mhm.
So I've been aware of GAS for maybe 5 years and only attended in the last couple of years. So my perspective of the organization is sort of limited. Could you, in maybe broad strokes, paint the picture of how the organization has evolved? Like, where did it start and where is it heading, and where would you guys like to see it go? I mean, obviously you've mentioned that you want to connect more of the international community, but in terms of the working elements of the organization, sort of the gears of the organization.
Brandy, you want to tackle that? I saw you unmute yourself. Go for it.
Yeah. So GAS is just a hair over 50 years old. So it was formed back in 1971, and it was formed by a bunch of young glass blowers in America that really had started working with ceramics, and they were trying to learn from each other. They were trying to figure out how to build furnaces and how to work with this crazy molten material. And it's the very first GAS conference had 6 people at it. And that is where we came from. We came from American glass blowers just trying to figure out how to make it work. But that same sense of coming together to just try to figure out how to make it work is something that we still carry with us. We've just expanded who we're doing it with. So we really were quite consistent for almost 50 years in that we were a conference organization. We moved our conference around every year. We had a few international conferences, but for the most part, we were firmly in the North America and America specifically. And we started talking I joined GAS in 2018, and we started having that conversation after a very successful conference in Murano, that we really felt like we wanted to get more engaged on the global glass scene. And as the Glass Art Society, we felt like it was our responsibility to take the lead there. And how could we do that? How could we be more international? And how could we be more inclusive of people that worked in glass in other ways? Because I don't know if any of you were at the Murano conference, but I think one of the most exciting things was there were women working in some of those hot shops in Murano that had never had women on the floor before. And that was something that we're like, we need to do more of that, make things like that happen. So we made a plan. And that plan was to really launch our international efforts in 2020 at the Sweden conference. And well, you know, the saying, if you make plans and God laughs. So we didn't have a 2020 conference in Sweden, and we kind of, the brakes got pumped really hard for a couple years, but we didn't change our plans. We took that 2-year hiatus to really think more about what we wanted those plans to be and what we could do with them and who we could partner with and where we could go. And during the pandemic, that was when we gave up our office and said, let's let our board and staff mimic our membership. Our membership isn't in Seattle. So let's go be amongst our membership. And that is what we've been doing ever since then, is expanding where we live and work. I've been in Europe now for five years. Spent a couple of years in the Czech Republic as we were still trying to make connections and figure out what that looked like. I'll be honest, the UK was not at the top of our list. That was not our plan. But this festival, the International Festival of Glass, presented itself. It is a 20-year-old festival. And we looked at it and we looked at what it had been doing and what we were trying to do. And it felt like a really great opportunity. And I think that is one of the benefits of GAS being a small organization, is we are really nimble. We can shift gears like that when opportunities present themselves. And we spent a year talking about this and deciding if it was right for us, but we acted on it. And gosh, that seems like so long ago, but it was only a couple years ago now. And we are now 4 months out from having our very first festival. And the exciting thing about the festival is it is geared towards the general public. There is still a huge element for glass makers, but this gives us an opportunity to talk about glass and the glass community to people that maybe don't know as much about it as we do. So we get to be real advocates out in the world and try to educate other people on what is so great about the material that we love, what artists do with it, and what it can mean in the bigger scheme of things. So that's who we were and who we are now, and where we're going is just to continue to grow that. You know, we want to make sure that we have a firm foundation here in the UK and establish a festival that is successful and hopefully continues to grow what the glass community in the UK looks like. But we're looking beyond that too. We're looking at how can we have a presence in broader Europe? How can we have a presence in Australia, in Central and South America? And what does that look like? And how can we help the artists that are working there? The travel program I mentioned to you earlier, that was developed because we wanted to be able to serve more artists than we serve once a year at the conference. And through that program, we've almost doubled the number of artists that we serve annually. And so we're looking at other ways, other new programming that we can put into place. Also trying to figure out ideas. We have so much technology now as a society. How can we use that technology to bring the community together when it's not a conference or a festival? We have the ability. So how do we make the most of that? And how do we create that online community that gives us more touch points throughout the year? Wow, that I said a lot of words
Yeah,
there.
and a mission like that requires folks on the board who have some good tech background as well.
Yeah.
Nudge, nudge, Raj.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you for that answer. Just one quick last question was about that IFOG event. So GAS has taken that over. Are the board members expected to attend that the same way they are with the GAS conference, or?
They are not. We are still figuring out what that division of labor and balance looks like, honestly. So this is in flux. Right now, we have a few board members that are coming over. We will hopefully have more. We have a funding request in that we're still waiting to hear from that will hopefully allow more board members to come over. But we realize that it's also not just about funding. Everybody on our board has a job. Some of them have 2 or 3 jobs, and that is not something that people can just take 2 to 3 weeks a year off from, and we recognize that. So the short answer is no, Raj. The longer answer is as we continue to grow and expand, we are looking at the expectations of the board members and how to make it realistic for those board members to be involved and to help the organization the way they have, but that doesn't really require, it doesn't become a hardship on them.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. Any other questions out there?
Eric, did you say how many board members you're actually looking for the following year?
We don't have an exact number at the moment. I am guessing in the 3 to 5 range is about what we're looking for this next round. We're still waiting for some confirmations from current board members to see who's sticking around for a second term and exactly what that makeup looks like.
I will mention that we also have 2 student reps as board members that are included in that number. One is based in North America, and then one is based somewhere else. Our current somewhere else board member is in Australia, and they serve 2-year terms alternating. So this year we will be looking for a North American student rep as well to join the board.
Yeah. All right. Don't see too many or any questions out there. Should we give folks a few more seconds if there's something else? Andrew, are you raising a hand there?
Yeah. My question, basically just you may have already gone over this, the logistics of do you have weekly, monthly meetings in order to organize with the board, or is it some sort of set schedule like that?
We do. We have monthly full board meetings. We typically take 2 months off from that a year. There'll be 1 month in the summer we won't have a board meeting, and December we don't have a board meeting either. And then committees typically meet once a month or every other month. So you'd be expected to catch committee meetings probably with 2 additional committees as well.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And Frederick and Leah, did you have a question?
Yeah, sorry. We have a question. Do you have a French person in your association?
We do not have anybody in France at the moment.
Nope.
Okay. Nicolas Lati is not Organization GAS?
I have been trying to get Nicola on our board for a couple of years now, and he keeps claiming to be too busy.
We could certainly use more support in France, though.
Understand.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just only problem for me because I'm very exciting for the GAS, but I am a big problem for speaking English. Okay, and it's very difficult for me.
To speak in English?
Yes. Et est-ce que ça peut aller pour être dans le...
And-
Sorry.
So Frederick didn't speak English very well, so he asked if there is a problem for you.
And that's, again, back to, we are blessed with so much technology right now that we are able to accommodate that. I know we have, and sometimes like this, you have the translation, which is good. We have had board members from Japan in the past that would sit through meetings, take the recording back, and then I would get emails from him the next day on his thoughts, because he would need the time to think and process. And we absolutely want to hear. We want to hear those voices. Like I was saying, it's very important for us to have representation. So we will make all the accommodations and work with folks as much as we can so that you feel like you're getting the information that you need, and we can get your perspective and information back, because that's exactly what we want as an organization.
Okay. Frédéric is very... Tu représentes,
Oui,
c'est le directeur, non?
Vice-président. Sorry.
Is a head office in a school in French, CERFAV. And also Flame Off is an association, French association. Du coup, ça serait une bonne opportunité, non, c'est ça? So I think it's a good opportunity to GAS and Flame Off Association to cooperate.
And for CERFAV.
And also for French school.
You know the school in France, CERFAV, you know?
I know it exists. I haven't been there, and I don't have any direct connections there, but I've talked to Nicola about it.
I think you're muted now. Oh, try again.
Yes.
Tu dis quoi?
I am vice president of CERFAV.
Head office, chairman.
You know? No,
In CERFAV. Non, je comprends pas.
Sorry.
You're the president of it.
Yes.
I don't think
Okay.
I knew that.
Okay. Just only information. Yes, I'm president for Flame of France and vice president, second president for the school CERFAV. Wow. Yes, I'm connection is not a problem for me. Connection the gas with the school is not a problem. No.
No, that's not a problem.
Okay.
I think probably every board member has at least one affiliation with another organization in some way. So it's actually something that we feel is an asset, because it allows us to continue to build those partnerships and those connections with the GLAS community as we try to grow.
Yeah, and we keep an eye on conflicts of interest, making sure, your efforts for gas are really directed towards gas. And when there is an appropriate time for partnerships to work that makes sense, we do that as well. But it's nice to have folks who are connected to other organizations, because it just means more community comes together, and we just are a more powerful organization that way. Yeah, there are times when I have to sort of think about the work I do for the Corning Museum of Glass and the work I do for GAS, and there are times I have to sort of pull myself out of decisions that need to be made. So we do what's necessary to make sure the organization is staying ethical, but we want all these voices and we want the connections to many organizations.
Okay, it's good. Thank you, Rick.
I think one of the most exciting things to me as the director about the board is that everybody on the board truly does have the same desire and the same goal, which is to make a stronger glass community. So even though everybody has their affiliations with other organization, it's not about that organization or this organization. When they come to the table, it's about how do we make glass better? How do we make glass stronger? And that is what I think has made the past few years of GAS, the past almost decade of GAS so successful, is you have this group of 25 people, between 25 and 30 people, board and staff, that are all moving in the same direction, saying, how can we make glass better?
Indeed. Excellent. Any other questions out there? All righty. Very good.
And I will say, if you guys go away and think of questions, think, I wish I'd asked that, please don't hesitate. You can email me. You can email Eric. I was looking at Michelle and Eric at the same time, made you one person. You can email anyone on the board. We would be happy to answer your questions. So we're just excited that you guys want to know more about what we're doing. And as you can tell, we like talking about what GAS is doing.
Excellent. Well, if we don't have any other questions at the moment, I think maybe we'll wrap this up. But again, to Brandy's point there, don't hesitate to reach out to us. info@glassart.org is always a good place to send emails if you have questions, and that'll get distributed to the right person to answer your questions. And I know we're going to see several of you here in Corning in a month and a half, which is scary to say, a month and a half, but
47 days.
yeah, we can't wait to see y'all. And again, yeah, if you have questions in the meantime, don't hesitate to reach out. We'd love to hear from you. So thank you so much, everybody. We appreciate the enthusiasm and the curiosity here, very much so. And yeah, have a good evening to those of you where it's evening, and if there's one or two, it might be morning, and it's afternoon for me. So au revoir.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.